Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how I do a booklet, a taped booklet, tape binding tonight. So it's going to work like this, just like a regular book, except the binding here is going to be tape instead of a coil, because in recording sessions you need it to be particularly quiet. And this is for a live show, and in this particular case I'm taping for the live show because the parts are largely going to be 2 and 3 pages. So it's not worth binding, and it's really easy to have 3 pages spread. So it's worth taping. So I just want to show you my method because I really don't like using a clipboard or tape machines or pre-cut pieces of tape or any of these sort of tricks, because I feel like they're kind of a waste of time and they're a little fiddly, and it doesn't really help. If you're just careful, then you can get it done. I'm going to turn this a little so you can see the edge of my table. I already did one page and then I thought I'd make a video. So here we go. I'm just going to line them up. As I line them up, I pull it close to the edge of the table. Can you see that? Let me check. Yes. Okay. Pull it close to the edge of the table, but not all the way to the edge. I line it up, and when I'm releasing the paper, I release it this way with a little friction and release so that it holds in place. That way I know the pages are centered. When I pull the tape out, this is an artist tape. I use 1/2 inch because it looks cleaner. A lot of people use 3/4 because you don't have to be quite so precise with it. Pull it taut and just drop it on the whole thing all at once. And I drop the tape also. You see the tape's just hanging there. Not a big deal. Just drop the razor blade, drop the tape, that's it. And to me, that is so much easier than any kind of clipboard or other little fiddly thing. You can start moving pretty quickly as you go through the score. So release like that, so it's in exactly the right place and nothing has shifted. Drop the tape, done. Right, it starts to move really fast, and this is the most efficient way I've discovered. Now, when I'm on this side, particularly as it starts to get thicker, I pull the top sheet a little bit when I press down, and that ensures that the tape kind of rolls over and lays flat, so that at the end you have a really nice square edge. That'll make it look really clean and finished. And so I don't know if I'm going to have much else to say, honestly, because it's pretty simple, just a little bit repetitive, and you kind of get into the groove of it, and then you don't have to think so much. I had for a while, I had a little kind of a contraption set up that helped me to cut pieces of tape, pre-cut pieces of tape, so that they were already at the right length, and I could cut several dozen of them all at once. And then when it came to taping, they were just sitting there ready, and I could just grab and stick, grab and stick. But this turned out to be even quicker. And I was shown this by a guy who worked at Disney. He was part of Booker White's team over at Disney. He was one of the librarians there. And he did this for a long, long time over there. That was what they determined to be the most effective method. So now it's getting a little thick. I'm just going to pad it up with a little booklet back there. Not quite yet, maybe on the next one, because they start to not line up, because this left page is higher than the right one, and it's not the end of the world, but it's nicer if they line up well. Whoops, see, they're a little tall, but there's room for error. And the artist tape also comes unstuck if it needs to. All right. So forget all the contraptions. An old rusty razor blade and a roll of tape is all you're going to need. Flip it that way. That just pads it up so that the papers are at the same height. And so one other little piece of advice, since I have a minute, is to hire people who are better than you are. I was on a job that was kind of urgent. It was Boston Symphony Orchestra and Queen Latifah, and it was a lot of paper, and I didn't have time to mess around. And you would think that just taping things together is kind of like a child's job and you can get any local high schooler to help you. But I wanted an expert who could sort of proofread at the same time, notice a wrong clef, notice printing errors, and just knew the requirements of sheet music. So I hired up instead of down and got this librarian from Disney, and I'm really happy that I did, because first of all, he increased my productivity quite a lot and required zero training. And second, he taught me this little thing. So that's mostly done. Looks like a book. Great. Now the outside here, all these folded edges of tape are a bit sticky. So all we have to do is cover them. And for this, I would prefer 3/4 tape, but I just don't have it. So I'm going to put just a teeny tiny edge of this tape on the score. If I had a thicker tape, it wouldn't have to be quite so tiny. But this is just to cover the end of it and keep the stickiness away. Just carefully set it down. Fold it over and then fold it over again. And that's it. So now we have a nice book. Sticky edges are hidden. There's a little printer toner here, so I take my eraser, wipe it off. And then to make sure it lays on the stand, I'm just going to open it and push all these flat. And during this step, I will double check, because I have been checking the whole time, but I'm going to double check the page numbers, that they're in the right order, which thankfully they seem to be. And this is sort of just a courtesy, so that the conductor doesn't have to do this and press each page himself or herself. That's it. Booklet done. Taped and absolutely silent page turns. Perfect.